In addition to the presidential and congressional races, we are also tracking the results of state ballot measures affecting life, school choice, drug legalization, and non-citizen voting bans. The battle for life was front and center, with abortion on the ballot in multiple states across the country and a first-of-its-kind measure in West Virginia on a growing life issue. EWTN News Correspondent Catherine Hadro has been following the abortion ballot initiatives very closely, and she joins us now to break it all down. Catherine.
That's right, Tracy. Voters in 10 states considered life on the ballot yesterday. All of the pro-abortion measures sought to enshrine abortion as a so-called right into state constitutions. Pro-lifers are claiming victory in 3 of those 10 states, the first pro-life state victories since Roe v. Wade was overturned. I'll get to those wins in just a moment, but I will start with another life issue that you mentioned was the first of its kind. It was an amendment in West Virginia to prohibit physician-assisted suicide. Amendment 1 passed by just 1%, 50 to 49. Voters amended the state constitution to ban the participation in medically assisted suicide, euthanasia, or the so-called mercy killing of a person. This is the first time a state has proactively voted on banning assisted suicide, which is unfortunately being legalized in many countries and already is legal in several states here in the U.S. 3 states, Colorado, Maryland, and New York, already have very liberal laws where abortion is legal in all 9 months of pregnancy. And not surprisingly, but still unfortunate, the abortion measures passed in all of these states. Abortion is legal in Colorado up until birth. That is also now going to be added to the state constitution and also will require Medicaid to cover it. The measure passing with 61% of the votes. Maryland already allowed abortion up until birth. That so-called right is now also enshrined in the state constitution. It passed with 74% of voters in favor of the measure. New York's ballot measure was a little different. Not only adding abortion as a right to the state constitution, even though the word abortion was not even in the measure, but also adding language protecting so-called gender identity. That language has raised concerns about parental rights over minors who may be seeking gender transition surgery or medication. New York's measure passed by 61% of the vote. In Arizona, where abortion is legal up to 15 weeks, the state will now extend that window. So a woman in Arizona can get an abortion up to 24 weeks of pregnancy. That measure also passed by 61%. In Montana, abortion is legal until 24 weeks, when a baby can live on its own outside the womb. A measure to keep that the law and to enshrine it into the state constitution did pass, receiving more than 57% of the vote. Missouri was a big loss for the unborn, but it was a close race for Amendment 3. Abortion is illegal with limited exceptions in that state, but now abortion will be expanded up until viability, that 24-week mark, with 51% of the voters favoring the abortion amendment. Nevada, there is still time for the pro-life movement to make a dent. Their abortion measure needs to pass 2 different election cycles, this year and then again in 2026. The abortion measure did pass this first round with 63% of voters in favor of creating a constitutional right to abortion until fetal viability. Now let's talk about those pro-life wins, starting with South Dakota. The law there that protects babies during all 9 months of pregnancy will stay in place. 59% of the voters voted against Amendment G, which would have constitutionalized a so-called right to abortion in the first trimester, with loose wording allowing for abortion in the second and third trimesters. But the measure failed, and protections for the unborn remain. Nebraska is being considered a win for pro-lifers. The state is unique in that it had dueling abortion ballot measures. 434 would keep the 12-week abortion ban in place, whereas Measure 439 would extend the window of allowing abortion until 24 weeks. But that extension to 24 weeks failed, so abortion will still be allowed up until 12 weeks of pregnancy, but is considered the lesser of 2 evils. And as we first reported to you last night, pro-life leaders are celebrating a win in Florida. A heartbeat law that went into effect earlier this year will remain the law of the land because an abortion measure failed to get the necessary 60% of the vote. But it was close. Some 57% of voters there wanted to constitutionalize abortion, despite more voters in favor favor of the abortion measure, it still failed because of that 60% threshold law. Our sister news organization, the Catholic News Agency, is tracking all of these initiatives. Visit their website, catholicnewsagency.com, to hone in on your state's ballot measures. Now, it remains to be seen if abortion will be brought up again in states where the pro-life measures won, but for now, a victory for the preborn in 3 of our states.